definitely got connected, and I think how you got to know me and eventually chose to join the company. We're not actually the ones building this thing, but it's in terms of kind of empathy for these kind of deep computing, like deep systems problems, and how tightly you need to optimize things to be able to kind of deliver such a specific problem space that has never really been solved before. I think that this is absolutely critical. So we're definitely focused on this, and I think we'll have more to share for developers and some folks at some point in the. I guess that the theme of today is the not too distant future, but we're going to leave it vague about what that actually means.
Yeah, and one of the questions whenever this comes up, why are you building? I want everyone to know I don't need to build everything myself. This is not. I want to build as little as possible. And Facebook really was built on top of open source. We're big contributors to open source. When software is available for us to use, we love using it. Obviously our Oculus and Portal systems are built on Android, which we've had great success with. So I don't want to build it. I want to build as little as I can. What is amazing is how much you have to build to fit into these tight thermal envelopes. And I do feel at times that mine was a generation of computer programmers who were a little bit lazy. We got to be lazy. We were at just the fattest part of Moore's law, delivering tremendous gains in silicon. And so you could just write kind of high level, inefficient code, and who cared? We're not up against Moore's law. Much tougher than that, we're up against the first law of thermodynamics. The amount of heat that we can dissipate off of your face is not very much without burning you, and which we strongly oppose. So for me, like, I do think we're doing it. Any piece of work you see me doing, you see Facebook Reality Labs doing, I don't want to do that work. I feel like I have to do it to deliver the vision, and building our own reality operating system is a part of that. Okay.
Yeah, it's also worth noting, it's not just the reality operating system. I mean, we actually have to go even deeper than that in terms of technical products, right? It's not just kind of making the apps efficient and the system efficient. It's the operating system layer, and then optimizing the hardware and actually building out a bunch of our own custom silicon, right? So it's like all the way up and down the stack. I mean, our hope over time, especially for things like I guess for both augmented and virtual reality, are that eventually a bunch of the pieces of the stack can become, sufficiently, when this is at a big scale, each layer of the stack will be its own industry by itself. And then you'd want the whole thing to be more modular. So that way, we can work with other partners who are building chips and kind of support a bunch of different people who are building different hardware, different things like that. But for the initial version, in order to get this to be tightly optimized, you really have to go pretty deep in order to deliver something that's the experience that we want and have it last throughout the day.
Yeah, the mobile workloads, have actually, that we use on our phones, we think of those as having been highly efficient performance per watt. Even they're an order of magnitude less efficient than what we need in terms of performance per watt for augmented reality, which is actually pretty demanding. You're doing 3D graphics that have to be responsive to a real world environment. The end-to-end latency there is very tight. So it's a tremendous technical challenge. I have said to people, and I think I'm on good standing here, Michael Abrash, our chief scientist, also our chief historian, keeper of the knowledge of the history of computing, from early on, one of the pioneers of computer graphics as we know them. He talks about this a lot. This is some of the hardest problems that we've taken on in a generation of computer scientists. And I came up in an easy period, and boy, we're at the hard stuff now. I want to mix it up. The people want some fun answers. How long did it take Max to learn Civ, and how long until she beats you?
I don't know. I mean, it was her first game. I threw her in. We played on. What's that?
That's not bad. Okay.
What?
That was your first game. You got a science victory out of it.
Yeah, we played that game every night before bedtime for almost 3 months, for like half an hour. So every night, and it's actually kind of funny teaching the kids a bunch of skills at the same time. She's basically learning how to use a computer and learning to play Civ at the same time, which I actually think Augie learning how. I'm teaching Augie how to code. She's 3, but there are some great programs online to do this, and she's basically learning to type at the same time as she's learning basic coding concepts. So it's kind of one of the things that I just find really adorable is in Montessori, I guess when they're first learning how to read. So she's learning to type, read, and some basic coding concepts at the same time. It's it's very basic, very basic. But when you're teaching the kids to read, you don't refer to the letters by the letter name. You refer to them by the sound that they make. So I'm literally, I'm like, all right, now type a t. Oh no, a capital T. And it's like, so I just think that you get into these like pretty ridiculous situations, which I think are really fun. But no, yes, I think, a few months for Max to play her first game. It's I think probably hundreds of times of just pressing to move a unit rather than control pressing to move the unit, and
Right.
like being frustrated that it didn't do what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Civ is a game that you can play for thousands of hours if my experiences has taught me anything there, and I'm just glad that I could share that joy with her.
Do people know that you're like a world-class Civ player? I mean, that's like, is that a known thing? Do people know that? Did I blow you up just now?
You did.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, I try to, yeah, well, it's,
Well,
I,
now, well, it's been nice working for you, Mark. It was a great career. I appreciate that. No, no,
no, well, it's like, look,
I
at
made
some
that up.
point I'll have to live stream
I hear you.
a game of myself, playing it on deity mode. But hold on, look, while we're talking about this, I have to show you something that I think is hilarious. At, um,
I'm glad I blew
at
them up.
school yesterday, the girls put together this little booklet of, I don't know, can you read this? Can you see this?
Okay,
Civ leaders.
Civ
And
leaders.
they, Civ leaders, where they basically drew pictures. Here's Queen Guitarja.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, and then I can just go through this, but it's just all of their favorite leaders from Civ. So this is good. And
Awesome.
like, there's like weeks of educational material in this to cover.
All right, I'm going to pick it. I'm going to have to pick Civ up. I'm telling you. Okay, let's talk about another one. Oh, actually, just as it's fun. Actually, you are a big time gamer, aren't you? Give me the number one game that you're enjoying in VR right now. You're a big time gamer, VR gamer. You're in there every week.
Yeah. I mean, getting through the pandemic, I mean, playing multiplayer VR games was like one of my favorite things. And, in the beginning, one of my favorite games was Arizona Sunshine. It was Sunshine. It was one of the first ones with multiplayer. But then more games came out over the course of the pandemic, which was awesome. And I've talked a lot about Onward. The designers of it are really, really talented. I think did a great job with it. And then there's a whole interesting community of folks who are designing custom boards, which I really enjoy and like playing those. Beat Saber just added multiplayer recently, so that's been a lot of fun. I just posted a video of me doing Beat Saber, which is
Yeah, that was
pretty
awesome.
fun. I still have a little way to go on that. I can beat a lot of the levels on expert, but I'm not expert plus yet. The new mixtape that came out last week, the
Yeah,
Interscope mixtape, the new music pack, good stuff. So there were, I think there's like 7 or 8 good songs in there that have been pretty fun to play. But I don't know.
yeah.
I'm Onward. I think is probably my main thing by hours.
There was something really elegant about starting the pandemic playing Arizona Sunshine. Just a good old fashioned like zombie apocalypse
Yeah,
shooter.
I mean, good old fashioned zombie apocalypse. Yeah, it's like you're just there with your friends killing zombies.
And I hype this whenever I get a chance, but if you don't follow John Carmack on Twitter, you should. He posts room codes every week to play multiplayer Beat Saber against him. He is not easy to beat. I have not
Yeah,
managed that.
no,
I
I'm
actually,
not. I'm not there yet.
I've managed to beat him in a couple levels of Pistol Whip, which has kind of been my go-to lately.
I
Getting
like
back,
that game too.
yeah, trying to get fit, trying to get those quads going. But man, I cannot take him on Beat Saber. Okay, I got one that I'll answer from Chad. Ads are running in the Oculus app. Are we going to have ads in VR too? Yeah, Chad, I think you probably are. I don't think you'll hate them as much as your question suggests that you might. One thing that people forget about the ecosystem around applications and games is that they really rely on distribution, and that's not new. They've always relied on distribution. In fact, previously, part of the reason there was these big game publishers is because they could have enough kind of clout with retailers to get distribution, and advertising is a big part of that. I have long history with this. Long before I was working on Facebook Reality Labs, even when I was working on Facebook ads, mobile app install ads were powered casual gaming for an entire generation of players. And casual gaming, at times, I think, especially at the height of the mobile boom, is bigger than any kind of gaming. I mean, people just playing casual, easy playing games. So I do think ads are super important. You can pick your favorite indie developer, pick any game you love, Go ask the developer how they feel about having the ability to promote their applications in places that give them a good return on their investment, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, or in the Oculus app. So promotion is actually important. It's not just like a thing that you have to struggle through, though I respect, we want those ads to be as good as possible. I don't want to sell you garbage. So if you see garbage, you can report it. Heck, you can report it to me. So I think for me, like, and then likewise in VR, like at some point when there's an economy there, you need to power that economy. That doesn't mean it has to be intrusive or bad. And I think we all know what bad ads are. We hate bad ads as much as anybody, probably more, since it causes me to get more questions like this. So it's on us to make that a good experience. It's on us to make that, to live up to your expectations, Chad. But yeah, they are a little bit there and probably more coming. And by the way, they also drive down the cost, I should mention, of both the content as it gets a broader distribution base, and of the hardware upon which that content is built. And that's an important piece for us. We do want this to be accessible. In fact, that's my next question. I saw it in here. How are you going to lower barriers to emerging technologies like augmented reality? Mark, one of the things that's been so important to us for all the products that we've built is that we get them out there and everybody can use them. And that's when you're building communication tools, you're building these utilities that give people power. That's always been so important to us. How can we, how are we thinking about augmented reality where these technologies are new? They're going to start out kind of expensive. How does that play out over time?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's two big pieces here in terms of the experience and how you get it to be accessible. One thing that I think people probably underrate is that if you're delivering a product that's about presence, you really can't have wires, right? And I think so that's probably not the most obvious place to go with this question, but I do think that if you want this to be something that a lot of people are going to experience, it needs to be a good experience. If you're trying to deliver a sense of presence, you don't want a wire wrapped around your neck. It really breaks the whole thing. So I think that is going to be the bar for VR and AR products of kind of high quality going forward. And I think you'll kind of see the market split into, wired experiences, which are maybe going to be less accessible to a broader number of people. And then the things that I think are going to be the mainstream line of technology, even if it's a little harder to develop, I think getting on that wireless path is really important. The other piece, that you were alluding to is just kind of getting the price to be as affordable as possible, right? If your mission as a company is to serve as many people as possible, then fundamentally you're not trying to charge a premium for your devices, where you're trying to drive the price down as much as possible, including potentially even doing what consoles have historically done, which is, at the beginning when they ship something, they know that they're going to be selling it for a little bit, and they're going to be able to make it cheaper, but they even subsidize it a little bit up front with the hope that an expectation that they'll basically make that up on app sales and on other experiences in the rest of the economy around it. So that's going to be more our plan, right? In VR and AR, we're coming at this from the perspective of how do we get this in as many people as possible's hands, which is going to mean how do you make the price as low as possible for people? We're not looking for ways to go out of our way to, basically charge a premium for folks. And I think that is going to be, I think, a pretty big defining thing for how many people can use this stuff over the next 5-10 years.
Forget about this. There's also kind of a total cost of ownership story. I've told this story with VR a bunch of times. 5 years ago, and a few months, we launched Rift. The total cost, was a $700, $800 device. And then you've also got a machine on top of that. Oh, I think we lost Mark, but it's okay. We'll let him come back. I'm still talking. And so that was a total cost of ownership of almost $2,000. Now you're talking about all in at $300. It's a game changer. Well, that's convenient that we've lost. Oh, he's back just in time.
I'm back.
I
could hear you the whole time.
Good. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. So we're just in time to say that's it. Thank you so much. I will mention two things for the audience who are out there. We built a good audience. A lot of flags. And there's a lot of flag emojis. I feel like Brazil is winning the flag emoji war. So congratulations to all of you in Brazil. Today at F8 Refresh, we just shared the stat that I wanted to share. The Spark AR community has surpassed 600,000 creators from 190 countries. They've published over 2 million AR effects on Facebook apps and devices. And we're tying it into Messenger so people can start playing some of these live games in Messenger, which I'm excited about. The other piece I wanted to kind of call out for people is that we're going to do these AMAs all the time. And if you want to sneak a few questions to Mark and have me coax him back, we'll keep doing that. So stay tuned here. Follow me here. and I'll put up AMAs, and then as we build up enough interest, we'll see if I can coax Mark back into it. Mark, thank you for joining me, buddy.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Yeah, no, this is fun. All right.
Take it easy,
Talk
y'all.
to you all soon. See ya.